Hey everyone, it's Brandy and you're watching Abstract Crafter. Today's Exploring the Essential video is kind of a two-parter. We're going to talk about canvas prep and what I do to get ready to start a project. And then when the project is all done, what I do to finish up. That will include how I finish my canvas to prep it for framing, or to get it ready for long-term storage if I'm not planning on framing it right away. So if you would like to learn some tips and tricks on prepping your canvas or finishing your canvas, then just keep on watching and we will get right into that right after we roll the intro credits. Alright, let's do some cutting. Okay, so prepping the canvas. What do I do to prep my canvas? I like to do this kind of stuff. I like to do all my canvases. If I get them put into kits, I like to also get the canvas prepped. It's all a part of that, being able to just do anything and go. This one might be a little tricky because it is warped, and I've talked about how this happens before. I'll mention it again here, and then we'll talk about what this video is about. Okay, so this happens here. You can see it almost looks like the image is shrank, because it is. So ink is usually heated up to a certain degree when it is printed out. So that means everything gets heated up. The ink will heat up this entire piece of canvas. But if they go ahead and lay this tape down on there before the canvas is completely cooled, then when the rest of this cools off, it cannot, where this tape is, it can't move. That's also how you'll get a lot of wrinkling and pinching, where they might not notice it. That could be because they're putting this down too soon, and then it's causing issues because the canvas is then stretching back out to its normal size, and the image can't go anywhere because it's covered in this sticky substance that doesn't move with the canvas. Whereas glue, on the other hand, you're not going to be able to lay that down on a hot canvas. And that's also how you'll get sometimes smeared or blurry images because they put it down and it was too hot. It's a very common thing that happens with a lot of AliExpress companies, specifically ones that are very busy. So, now that you know how this kind of stuff happens, and not all pinches and rivers and bulges and stuff are caused from this. Some of them are just people just not doing a good job. So, anyhow, back to this. So, you can see here that there's a line all the way around the canvas. Well, here, they actually cut on the line. Well, that is typically the line between canvases. So where this one has some extra, the other one is cut short. And some companies will do a super good job. Evermoment, for example, you'll never have to do what we're about to do here. That one, you can skip this first step that I'm going to do and move on. So you'll notice, and quite a bit of the reason I do this type of prep is this reason here. You can see it's fraying along the edges, and don't be fooled, even the ones that have the stitching done along the side, they do fray. They just don't fray as bad as this. In fact, they'll fray just a teeny tiny bit, but they will start to fray too, especially if you're moving them around a lot or your hands are rubbing on them a lot. Every canvas will do this. I have not come across one that doesn't. And I have done a lot, my friends. I'm not saying it's not impossible, but even one of my Diamond Art Club ones did, one of my Diamond Out ones did, and those are the ones where they got the wavy edges that are stitched. Don't get me wrong, it prevents probably 95% of the fraying that you get on these type of canvases. This one hasn't been handled all that much, and it's already fraying this bad. So I always start If the line wasn't there, I would just trim that all away, and we will have to do that on some parts, because if you don't, it'll start to pull off, and these little hairs, I don't know if you can see them, will get stuck all over your canvas, and then it'll degrade the glue underneath. I had that happen on Saner Direct, which is something I didn't mention in that post review, but that was I was pulling hairs off constantly on that canvas because there was so many hairs sticking off. Even though I prepped those canvases, it was like that before. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how I prep my canvases, what I do to get going with a kit so that I can just get to work. The second part of this video will be when I've finished with the kit, everything I do afterwards. From the time I put that last drill down, what takes place then. So to start with, you want to kind of inspect your canvas and make sure, like I see here, I'm probably not going to be able to tape my edges. I might not even really be able to put washi tape down. If I do, I'll have to put something really thin down, because that will kind of distort your canvas and make more wrinkles. Like, this is exaggerated, but it'll kind of give this effect to your canvas, making it really hard to work on. In fact, my custom one is like that. My custom wedding picture is like that. So I have to go over and take all that tape off, and once it's in a frame, it's not going to matter. I'm going to cut that off. It's not going to matter, but I need this sticky part to be workable for me. So let's start first with cleaning the canvas a little bit. I'm seeing some spots. And then also let's check the back. Major issues are going to be, you're going to notice them right away on the back. If you're getting huge, like, puckers on the back, you can be guaranteed something's going on underneath the canvas. So before we clean, I guess we can do this part. Not everybody is a YouTuber, but you want to make sure you're looking over at your canvas. So you're going to peel your papers back, or if it's a clear cover, then you still want to peel it back, because you want to be able to make sure that glue is good, or the tape in this case, and you want to make sure that your canvas looks good. So no blurry spots, all the symbols look good. We're not looking to see if the symbols are going to work for us in this, sometimes I don't like it when symbols are too close to like each other, but they're very different symbols. I don't like that. You're checking to make sure that you're not having major glue issues, because if you are, then you need to contact the seller and get a replacement. So on this one, you can see the line where the papers meet. So when you lay the paper down, it's right where that light's shining, in the middle. So you want to lay your papers down, and you want to try to aim for that line. And even the best case, you're still not going to cover everything. And especially I've noticed it more so with these Huacan ones and the Huacan Company ones, that when you can't get it right, you're going to get gaps in the middle. And this is why I started prepping my canvases in advance. And I'm going to cover this tape that hangs off on the sides so that it doesn't matter. My cover paper will fit no matter where I put it. So we're going to start by picking. I like to pick themed, again, and washing it. We'll wash it, and then we're going to pick out our tape first, though. And I did say I want something thin, and I have a little selection here of Halloween ones. It spills over into Christmas, but that's okay. I don't know where these tapes came from, but I found them and I stuck them in there. I haven't used them on a canvas or anything. I haven't found that any specific washi tape is better or worse than any others. They're all kind of average. It really depends on the canvas material, if it's going to stick down well or not. So the thinnest one I have is this spider moth insect one. We'll call it the insect one. It's got some hollow lines in it. I like it. So I think that'll be thin enough where it won't pull on the canvas. And then right here where the chart is, obviously you don't want to put washi tape down. So I have the clear tape. You can do this with washi tape, or I do it with clear tape because it tends to stick to the canvas a little better. You want to go around the edges where it tends to fray, so that you don't have to worry about that anymore. I sometimes use washi tape, it just depends, but I like to do clear tape, so I'll put clear tape over this. You can use packing tape if you have it. I do. That's what I'll be using for there. This is just to help with the washi tape. So, why don't we start by giving it a quick wash down, because I can see crap all over it. And that's not necessarily from them. That's probably from me. But let's wash that quick. Let's get this big thing out of the way. I got this for Christmas from my sister. I love it. I used to just have all my washi tape in a jar. My washi jar in a tape, I was about to say. I use these Huggies wipes. I've said it in a few videos, but might as well repeat it here. They're called One and Done. These ones are cucumber and green tea. They do have one that's the same brand. It's in a green package, and they're unscented. But the scent isn't overpowering or anything. It smells really good, actually. I use them for everything. You can also use Clorox wipes if you want. I've used those. I've used, what are those, handy wipes or something they're called, for little hands. Or you can just get a paper towel wet and do that. But I kind of like to do that to make sure if I got any dirt on it. If there's any dirt on it from the factory, making sure that we give our canvas the best chance possible. We're going to spend quite a bit of time with it. Even if it's only a couple days, that's still a couple of days of your time. Okay. So that's clean as it's going to get. Now, I didn't mention this, but you should also be making sure you're doing inventory. I already have this one in a kit. So, if I didn't, though, you're going to want to make sure that you have every single color and that your quantities are right. So, with Huacan, Evershine, and the other sister companies, they're going to all be very similar to this, in which they're going to give you the quantity, and they come weighed. So you could work right out of those bags if you wanted to. I just don't like to work out of the baggies if I can help it. So if they come with the standard 200 count in a bag, or whatever counts they're using, it'll say, instead of 692, it'll say 154, and it'll have like a 3 by it, meaning 3 bags. So they gave you 3 bags. So you want to make sure that all of that's matching up. 3 bags should equal to be about 600-ish drills, maybe 630. So for this one, if it was in the 200 counts, the quantity here is the total quantity. I don't remember if that's what you use or that's what they give you. I'm blanking. I know what it is, so you don't have to correct me in the comments. I know what it is. I'm just blanking right now. But that you would need like 4 bags for 154 if it comes in the 200 count. So all I do here is, even though the line is missing right there, it's still got a lot of fraying, and you want to do that without, you don't want your cover paper off and your canvas exposed when you're doing this. And then just follow the line. Some canvases are easier to cut than others. I have noticed that some canvases will leave behind like little strings when you cut, so make sure you have really good sharp scissors when you're doing this. And you just want to follow that line. It doesn't have to be perfect. If you have one of those really nice paper cutters and it's got a good blade on it, you could use that. I don't have a big one. I just have a 12-inch one, and this is too big for that. So I don't mind just cutting it off. Like I said, it doesn't have to be complete. And now there's still some fraying on there, but it's not as severe as it was. And then we got just a little extra spot I missed there. So I try to get it as straight as I possibly can, cutting it by eye, but so then I'll just come over here and do the same thing. You don't have to do this as part of your canvas prep either. I just like doing it, I guess. If you're planning on framing it, you really don't have to, but you should still try to figure out a way to prevent these little frayed edges from coming off and sticking onto your canvas, because they are a pain to get off. It's like half the thinness of hair, so you can imagine if you get a bunch of that on your canvas, it's the sticky is going to be pretty much non-existent at that point then. And because I have stupid OCD, if I see a little tiny spot that I missed, I have to go back and get it. It's not really necessary. You could try ironing this to get it to lay a little bit more flat, but I don't know that it would do anything to really fix this buckling issue here, this warping issue. It's just something you'll have to deal with while you're working on it. But then I suggest framing it in a way where you just cut this excess completely off right along the drill line. It's just, otherwise it's going to look warped underneath the glass or acrylic or whatever type of frame you're using. Plastic, acrylic even. I really like doing this. I usually will gather a bunch of my paintings. I actually had to actively remember to save this to show you these prep tricks that I do, because I'll usually gather like 5 or 6 of them and do this while I'm watching TV, and then get a little bit off on this end. Some of it was already cut on the line. If for some reason you are cutting it and you notice that it dips way down, don't try to fix it. I say just work with it, because then you'll just keep cutting, trying to match that, and then you won't have much of a border at all. And I do think it's nice to have a little bit of a border while you're working on it. Okay, and we just got the bottom. There's not a lot on the bottom, but I'm going to cut it anyway, and I'm actually going to come over here and try to come this way with it, because I noticed that in editing, when I sit down, my voice travels a lot. So let's try to just get this cut off. I probably won't go through the entire process with you. It'll get kind of boring. I don't want to like get into too many topics because I'll interrupt myself too much when I'm, trying to explain other things. And then the next clip will be what I do when I'm finishing. It'll be a different canvas too, by the way. It'll probably be a smaller canvas. It'll probably be one of my little blackboard ones, because I've been really anxious to see how those turn out. Okay, so the rest of this is cut up above where the line would have been, so I'm just going to try to cut off as much of this extra string as possible. Just so I'll vacuum that later. Okay, so now we're all set. Now, I always put my washi tape down before I put any clear tape or packing tape down, because typically it's not going to stick to the canvas, the washi tape, so you're going to want to put a little bit of regular tape over it. Because this is cut off in strips, I'm going to have to, and you know what, it comes off so far over here that I'm probably not going to be able to use this one. Let me pick a different one. Please forgive the glare that I just left. So I think I'll just use, this is the thickest one I have. I think I can use it in conjunction. It kind of goes together, right? Spiders and insects and spider webs. So I'm going to do the top first, and then I'll just come back with this one. I don't want to use this thick one all the way around, because like I said, this warping, the washi tape will cause issues with it. And if I stretch it all the way out, you can see how much it's warped, because it actually kind of, I can feel a lot of pull on that. So I don't want to make it, I don't want to put any more pressure on that from the washi tape than I have to. I can become a bit of a perfectionist with this. So the hardest part really is making sure that you don't get on the canvas part. So I just try to find that line and smooth it down, and you'll see it'll start to come up off of the canvas by the time we get back to it. So I just try to follow that line. I just stay in one straight line. If it's easier, you can cut it off into pieces. It doesn't really matter. Most people only keep the washi tape on for the purpose of working on it. Some people, if it's something you want to keep on there for good, then you want to just do it, make sure it's nice and straight, and you do it so it's more even with the canvas. The main reason for covering this with washi tape is, like you can see, the glue hangs over. It comes to about right here. So that is a potential for things to stick into it super easily. It also helps make sure that the cover paper stays on the area it needs to be on. Where'd my scissors go? And so obviously this has still got all the fuzzies on it, so I want to shake that off, wipe it off, whatever I got to do to get that off before I cut the washi tape, just to prevent it from getting back into my canvas. So the reason I put washi tape down is keep dog hair out of there. If I'm leaning over my canvas for whatever reason, it helps prevent any of that from sticking to my shirt furs or dog hairs, from getting on there and making it look ugly. Let's see. So then typically, I don't know if I'm going to have to do it here. It doesn't look like the tape is going to, yeah, it's kind of being an issue, but I don't want to completely flatten it. So what I'll do, if I need to, I don't always need to, but this part I always do in pieces, but I just take the clear tape and go a little less than half on the top. And because it's warped, I don't want to push down too hard. I'm not trying to flatten it, and I'm just wrapping it around the edge. And like I said, you can do that with Scotch tape or shipping tape. I'll be using shipping tape on this side. I just kind of want to demonstrate each side to you and how I do it. The reason I do a little less than half is because typically I'm using it also to hold down the washi tape. So what I might have to do after I'm done filming this part of it is come back and put a piece in the middle. I'm fine with that. I buy the cheap 87-cent tape from Walmart. I don't spend a lot, but make sure it is the clear, the glossy finish. The matte finish will distort it. I accidentally bought matte finish last time, and I just want to do this to show you. So if I put a piece in the middle, it'll just help that washi tape stay down. You could just do tape if you wanted. I like washi tape because I like to add a pretty border to my paintings. Okay, so that's, you'll just go all the way around like that. If your tape was meeting up with the washi tape, so if I was taking this piece and laying it over the tape, or the washi tape, and covering the edge at the same time, I would put all the washi tape down first, so that no matter what, this tape is going to overlap. So I'll just put this piece down, and then we'll move on to a different side. Alright, so I'm going to put my cover paper back on. And so now I can actually overlap it a little. Well, I can't yet until I get the tape all the way around. I will be able to, and that will ensure everything stays covered in the middle. So then when you go to the side, I just kind of peel it back, and if it makes it easier for you, go ahead and just give it a little crease. It doesn't have to be a, you know, a hard crease or anything. You can just do a little one. And I do this to all my canvases. So most of my canvases are prepped. I have come across some where they did a really good job putting the tape or the glue down and it barely goes over the edge. I won't cover it then unless I really want to. So then we'll just take our thicker washi tape, since this is, I don't know if I can show you, it's very thick, and then it gets thinner as it goes down. So it definitely was 3 strips of glue that they laid down, or tape that they laid down. Very strong industrial strength. So now this is an example of a washi tape that's not very sticky, where you would definitely have to tape it down with additional tape. Or you can just fight with it. You don't have to do that either. I've done that before where I didn't feel like adding tape onto it as well. You know, and if you do accidentally get it on the canvas when you're working on it and you notice it, you can just push it a little bit, either with the drill itself or the drill pen, and it will move out of your way. I've done that many times too. So I don't want to cut that all the way down because I actually want to make sure that that covers the smaller washi tape. It's just the way I want my border to look. Strange indeed. Push that up a little. So I'll just lay this down. I guess I am going to end up showing you the whole canvas, but it doesn't take that long. You know, You don't have to be an expert taper or anything, if that's even such a thing. So this one I'm trying to just kind of make it go along with the grooves that are already there. I don't want to flatten it, like I said, because otherwise it's going to warp my actual working area. And I don't want to go off camera on you. And this, yeah, that fell onto the canvas, but it's not going to hurt it. You can actually do a lot to these canvases and not ruin them. They are pretty tough. I haven't noticed in my time of completing these. Alright, so now I can finish putting this down. And I always just bring mine, you can bring it all the way down off the page, and I know I'm probably cutting off right here. You can bring it down off the page if you want. I don't want. I like to have a nice even border around. And see, that's even a little short, but that's okay. I'll ignore it. Alright, so then now that this tape is laid down here, when it comes to where my inventories are, or my charts are, I'll go, I don't care about if I cover this wording here. I'll just try to get just below it. I do have a little bit more difficulty when it comes to the sides where the charts are, but your chart, your key, whatever you want to call it. So then again, you just line it up to the line that's already there. Some paintings won't have that for you. Some paintings are very hard to tell where the edge is. Like this one has a thin black line. Some of them don't have a line at all. It'll just be like rounds, for example. I don't know how I got those crappy scissors. Rounds, for example, will be, you'll see little circles, like diamond dots, or partials especially. You'll just see the outline of the circle. And then I'm done with washi tape at this stage. So, let's put this paper back down. Then now I can keep my cover papers down, because anything else that I need to do to the canvas I can do without having the cover paper exposed, except over here. I will need to lift this up a little bit to put the tape down. Let's get that lifted up and just give it a little, if you want to, you can always, if you don't want to fold your paper, because I know some people like to have it very specific, you can set up your cover paper at this time. And what I mean is, if you specifically say you want to just work on pieces of the canvas at a time, you want to do half and half, you could fold that in half in your canvas lines, it'll be all set up. Then you want to like make hard marks on those so that there's a nice hard crease on it, and then you just keep going and making all your little marks on your cover paper. I do that sometimes. And so now it's got 4 sections all ready for me when I want to start. So some people, this would be the stage to do that at. And I don't really need to lift this all the way, but... So I'm actually going to use shipping tape because I like to cover this. You don't really need to. The glue isn't coming off a ton. I like to cover it so that... I think it was Diggy. I think it was her that had said that she tapes it because she spilled on it accidentally, and when she went to wipe it off, she had wiped away all that ink. So if nothing else, I like to cover that. Okay, this is going to be loud. Just to prevent any possible accidents. And so the clear tape, I find, is actually the hardest to lay down because it's clear and it's harder to find that line. I just go slow, and I usually go in pieces with the tape, but I was able to get it with this light. So then this shipping tape is nice and thick, and it covers the entire piece, and it did go over a little at the top, so then I'll just fold it over. And then it's all prepped on that side. Now you can lay back down your cover paper. And at this stage, if you have gaps in between, you can reorganize your paper, and you don't have to worry about any of that glue underneath getting dirty or on the edges getting full of anything. So And just as one last example of, instead of using the Scotch tape like I did on the top, you could take the shipping tape. Loud, sorry, hold on, let's get a piece quick. I'll try to turn the volume down on that for you. And usually what I do, I can't do it because it'll go off camera, is I'll bring this to the edge of my table and then I'll line it perfectly up with the edge so that the tape doesn't stick to anything. Because if it was my desk right now, it would be, it would rip the coating off. So with this, I'm covering the washi tape, but leaving enough so there's still a little bit here to wrap out around. When you do a full piece like that, it is easier to start in the middle and just kind of pinch it down and then kind of work your way across. Don't force it. If it doesn't come flush to the edge of the painting, don't force it. Sometimes it, you know, that just, it's still going to make a nice cover and it's still going to do what it needs to do, but it's also going to fill in anywhere that it was cut crooked. I do prefer shipping tape for my canvases, but because this is so warped on the top, I just feel like this would do exactly what I don't want it to do. So let's get one more piece and cover this little tiny bottom. I like it better because I can measure what I'm doing too. Alright. So again, I'm just going to put enough, because I already covered this, so I don't have to worry about trying to cover that. So what I want to do is just get it so it goes a little bit over the edge of the washi tape. It's going to hold the washi tape down, and then it's also going to be, you're going to be able to fold it over. And now I have my corner there like this, so you can see it's hanging off both edges. It's just as easy as making a little V cut into the tape. Well, actually, it's a lot longer than I meant it to be, so it's an exaggerated V. But typically you can cut straight across, or you make a little V, angle it from this way, angle it from this way, and then you get your perfect corners in the back, but I made it too long on one end. It usually has to be pretty equal to be able to do that. So, I mean, yeah, I don't want to waste my shipping tape. Like I said, that's so warped. And just from experience, I know that that's not gonna, it's gonna do more damage than good. So I'll just use up my cheap old Scotch tape and keep going around. And I'm not pushing down extremely hard. I am putting a little bit of pressure afterwards, but I'm trying to get it so that the tape follows that groove. Because if I were to make that flat and force that flat, this part might go flat, but then this part is going to do what this warped part is doing. I did show that in a video. I'm not sure what video at this point, of what it did to my custom wedding picture and why I have to redo that one. So it's just that easy to prep your canvas. So again, going over the steps, you want to check your inventory, make sure you have everything, and that means like matching up DMCs if they're given and quantities. You want to make sure that you have all of that available, or all of that known, so that if you don't have it, you can get a hold of them right away. Even if you don't plan on doing your kit anytime soon, you want to make sure that you're checking all of that so that you can start getting that materials ordered, contacting the seller, giving yourself enough time to get the extras, especially if it's something you want to work on relatively soon. You want to make sure that you have everything you need. Then you're going to want to lift your papers back, not only to flatten it out, but to check the quality of the canvas itself and make sure that, you know, you're getting, that you can read all your symbols, that nothing is blurred or slipping, nothing is blurred, the canvas is in good shape, nothing is pinched, or the glue or the tape isn't damaged in any way. And then you don't have to do the cleaning part that I did. I just like to do it because I've gotten them before where it's just been disgusting. I think, in fact, Donnie got one where she could see somebody's chocolatey fingers all over her canvas. So you just never know what kind of conditions. Wiping it down will simply just help the tape adhere to it a little bit better. And then you want to, if you don't want to cut on the lines, to the production lines is typically what I call them, where, they were meant to cut the pictures apart. If you don't want to cut to make them even, you don't have to do that, but just make sure before you lay the tape down, if you tape the edges like I'm doing right now, that you get those fuzzies off. And only do that step when you have your cover paper on. If you want to take that extra step to go ahead and make the marks on your cover paper to make working sections like that, that would be the time to do that as well. And then you want to pick out if you want to do this step, it's not necessary. I've also seen Donnie does this, in fact. She cuts little strips of the cover paper and sticks that on the glue. I mean, you could just as easily take your cover paper and just cut with an X-Acto knife and a ruler right down there. Leave that cover paper right on that piece of glue that overhangs, and you got yourself a free cover in that way. So that is a very cost-effective way. I just like the washi tape because I like the prettiness. So, alright, now this first part's very long. The second part shouldn't be as long because we've covered a lot of these topics already with other videos in this series. It's just going to be a really quick overview because I thought it would be nice to have one comprehensive video of starting and finishing a canvas. With that, I think I will conclude this first section. I hope I was able to help you with anything. I hope the tape wasn't too loud. I hope I gave you some good ideas. Also share your tips with me down below and let me know what you do. And yes, I realize I didn't cover this edge yet. Yeah. Do you want me to make sure I do a complete video? Let's just tear a piece off really quick. Little long, but we'll take it. Let's see. And I'm just doing the shipping tape because I want to make it a little speedy. And I already covered that corner. You don't have to really worry too much about the corners on these. I haven't noticed that it makes that much of a difference if I make sure my corners are covered. So again, it doesn't even have to be all that even on the tape side, because you just put the top over first. I think I did it the opposite way there. And then again, go from the middle and then kind of just lightly work your way across. You don't have to completely get it. You just want to get that fold started more or less. And then you can flatten it down nice and tight. And there's a bubble. And see, even here, I got a little bit of tape overage. And that's okay. That doesn't bother me. If it does bother you, it's just as easy. Don't cut it all the way to the canvas, but you can cut, because then you're just doing the same thing that you did, but you can cut that little bit of extra off. Alright, now I'm going to conclude this first part. I will see you back with a finished canvas. It'll be a different one. Like I said, it'll probably be the blackboard popsicles, because that's the one I'm working on next. And I'll be able to show you how I finish a canvas and what I do the second my last drill hits that canvas. Alright guys, I'll see you there.